Here is another review on another Robert Munsch book. You can find the full story on my profile. Just scroll down. And this is The Paper Bag Princess. And like I always say, I love Robert Munsch. This is just my 2 cents. This one is To Elizabeth. So here we got a beautiful princess named Elizabeth, and then we have a prince here that is named Ronald, and they are supposed to get married, and she lives in a very expensive castle and wears very expensive clothes, and she's just like, oh, this guy is so charming, like, look at him being all purty. But unfortunately, a dragon comes and smashes her castle and burns all her clothes and takes the Prince Ronald away with him. He's definitely something else, that Ronald. And so poor Elizabeth is just frustrated, which, hey, somebody, especially a dragon, breaks down your house and burns down your clothes and takes your future husband. You get pretty, fiery. So all she can find is this paper bag. That's the only thing that wasn't burned down. And she follows the path of the dragon that he left with horse bones and burnt forest. And then this dragon, he's just something else. Like, he's a posh dragon. He's just like, no, it's all good. Like, I love princesses and I love eating them, but I've had a very busy day, so come back tomorrow, princess. And she's like, excuse me? Like, look at him, he's just checking out his nails. And she knocks on the door again after he slams the door in her face, and he's like, yeah, like, go away. I love eating princesses, but I've already eaten a whole castle today. I'm a busy dragon, come back tomorrow. And she's like, well, is it true that you're, like, the smartest and fiercest dragon in the land, or what? And then she's like, smart, so she's like, I'm gonna challenge you. And she's like, hey, is it true that you can, like, burn up 10 forests in, like, one fiery breath? And he's like, oh yeah, like, let me show you, because no backing down for this guy. And she's like, oh, fantastic. And then he takes another huge breath and burns down another 100 forests. And she's like, magnificent. And the dragon's like, okay, I could do one more. And then he goes, and he couldn't even cook a meatball with the amount of smoke that he put out. He was all out of fire. And she was like, haha, got this guy. And then to tire him out some more, she's like, hey, is it true that you can fly around the world in just 10 seconds? And he's like, oh, why, yes, challenge accepted. And then jumps up and flies around the world in just 10 seconds. I love her little wave, like, bye. And then he was very tired when he got back, obviously. And she was like, fantastic, do it again. So he did it again in 20 seconds. And you can tell this guy's just, like, done for the day. And then she's like, oh, he's done. Like, he's passed out. And she, like, softly checks. And then she, like, loudly yells at him. And he doesn't wake up. So she just, like, walks over him and goes to his door. And then this knucklehead right here, he's like, oh, like, Elizabeth, you're a mess. You smell like ashes. Your hair's all tangles, and you are wearing a dirty old paper bag. Come back when you're dressed like a real princess. And she's like, nuh-uh, not today, sir. I just did all this stuff, and you treat me like that. Like, oh, hell no. And then she tells Ronald, like, your clothes are really nice, and your hair's really nice, but you look like a real prince, but you are a bum. She legitimate says that. And then it says they didn't get married after all. And she's like skipping off into the sunset, just loving life. I absolutely love the ending of this book. It's hilarious to me how she just, like, is like, no, bro, like, I ain't doing your shit for you. Like, no. And especially after she just went all that she did. And then he's just like, oh, by the way. Once again, this is just my 2 cents on the Robert Munsch books. And I hope you guys enjoyed.